Mike's on.
All right, a little after 5 on this Monday program as we say goodbye to October. This is normally Eli's spot, but coming off the bye week, we are joined by the head coach of the Giants, Ben McAdoo. Coach, welcome. How are you?
Good. Great to be here, Mike. How are you?
Coach, appreciate a couple of minutes. Off the bye week, which obviously a chance for you to kind of step back and do some self-examination. What'd you come up with?
Well, first, we talked to the players about being humbled over the first 7 games of the season. Things didn't go the way we wanted them to go, obviously, and we had high expectations coming in. We needed to learn from them, we need to flush them, and we need to move on.
Ben, when you get a chance to go over everything as you do on the bye week, and you get the chance to look at everything and really do a little more in-depth study, is there anything that you can tell us that you came across that maybe was a positive that you didn't notice or we didn't notice, that something that gave you some, when everything was a negative, a player or something that was positive about these first 7 games?
Yeah, we looked at things really from a personnel standpoint and from a schematic standpoint. I think offensively we're making some progress running the football. We're running the football well. We continue to make steps there. We're being physical up front, and we're taking care of the ball at a better clip than we have in the past. And defensively, we take a look at being as aggressive as we can, flying around trying to take the ball away. A lot of the problems that we've had, Mike, have come at the end of ball games where we were good in the past, and we just need to get that belief going.
Have you settled in, injuries aside, do you feel comfortable with where everybody is now on the offensive line? Have guys morphed in or been either by injury or by what they've done performance-wise settled in where you're comfortable now where the offensive line is?
Well, we still had some moving pieces in our last ball game, and that's the way this league goes. You can never get comfortable with all 5 guys playing up there because you never know when you're going to have to call a guy's jersey number. He's going to have to step up. But Brett Jones has done a nice job in there for us at center.
He has.
Being physical and directing traffic. But in the run game, he's taken some good steps. John Jerry moved over to the left guard. And, John gives us everything he has, along with DJ Fluker at the right guard spot. And it's helped us in the run game. Eric Flowers continues to take steps to improve. He has some plays here and some plays there. And I know guys like to get on him, but he's working to improve there. And Justin Pugh, he's the ultimate team guy, playing right tackle for us. He had to come out of the last ball game, but hopefully we can get him back this week.
Well, how would you categorize Ingram's performance so far?
He's a rookie. He's a very talented guy. You can see his talent flash on the field. He has a lot to learn. And at this point, especially with some of the losses we have, we're not holding back on him volume-wise. We're throwing a lot at him. And, he's picking it up. He's going to make some mistakes as a rookie, as you would anticipate a young player would. But he learns from his mistakes. He improves. And we're asking him to contribute on special teams as well. And he has some value there for us.
We're talking with Ben McAdoo, the head coach. To see a team lose 3 wide receivers, the top 3 guys, all in the same quarter of a game, I've never seen that before in my life. Now, you got a chance maybe to get Shepard back, I gather. The other 2 aren't coming back. Where are you in terms of the core wide receivers you can put on the field?
Yeah, and Dwayne Harris is a guy too that we'll miss. He played some good football for us in 2 phases. But Shep is a key to us right now, and if we get him back, that'll be great. If we don't get him back, then some other guys will have to step up. Roger Lewis has played for us now. He's going into his 2nd year, and he's capable of going out there and making plays for us. Tavares King is a player that knows the offense in and out, has some speed out there for us. And Travis Rudolph is, a guy that came in and really earned his opportunity on the practice squad. And, getting him out there and giving him a chance to shine and get some separation will do him some good. And we're counting on those guys to step up big for us. And Ed Egan is handling our return duties right now. Again, he's a young guy, very confident, and we look forward to getting him out there this week.
You've lost. You're 1-6. You've been in most games, for the most part. Been in these games. We've seen games where the punter might make a bad play, or there's a defensive breakdown after a lead, which happened on 3 different occasions. The offense didn't do its job in this game, etc. What is there one reoccurring theme that you would take through these first 7 games that bit your team, or was it something different every game?
No, you can't point to one thing in this league. When we're sitting where we're sitting right now, we know this, though. They're going to come down to the end. That's the way the games go in this league. We've had some players step up for us and go out there and they play their hearts out, and they give it everything they have to give us a chance to be in these ball games at the end. And when you're in these ball games, these close ball games at the end, it's a game of mistakes. We have to eliminate the mistakes and take advantage of our opportunities, and we haven't done that.
And when you look at this overall, do you expectations were very high. What do you think is the biggest reason why you're in the position you're in right now? Do you think this has been a situation where you overestimated the talent, or was it a case of just a breakdown in places where you didn't expect it?
No, I think that we have plenty of talent in the locker room, and we have some talented coaches upstairs. Didn't start the season playing very well in the first 2 ball games, not in all phases, but we picked our spots there, and then we had a chance to win 3 close games in a row. And when you lose 2 of them on the last second, it takes a toll on your team. You can't just point to one reason or one thing why you're coming up short in ball games. You just have to keep plugging away and find a way to get out of it. The bye week, we talked about, don't forget how badly you once wanted what you now have. And there's a chance for these guys to get away a little bit, reflect on the first half of the year, but then we have to flush it. We have to move on. We got 9 games left, and we have a chance to go out and, turn into a good football team, but we have to go earn it.
You're 1-6 with a team that had opened the season with postseason expectations. You won 11 games last year in your first year. This is the first time as a head coach you've gone through this. What have you learned, or what have you observed about this that's different about this year? I mean, do you just say, hey, we're just not getting a break or making a play? Is it as simple as that, or do you see something that's running through your team?
No, it's a game of confidence first and foremost, and I need to be an energy source for these guys, because they get beat up when they're outside of the building, and when they're inside of the building, you need to be as positive as you can be and correct the things that need to be corrected, and talk as straight with them as you possibly can to get it done, and coach them as best you can. But it's not that things aren't fixable and things can't be fixed. We have a lot of football left to play, and until they stick the knife in me, we're going to keep fighting. Now, you decided not to call the plays. Was that a product of the team losing, or that you needed to be different and do different things right now rather than call the plays? Yeah, I think that when you have a chance to delegate in the situation that we were in, I felt that it was best for the football team for me to delegate those duties. I'm still in the offensive meetings. I'm still a part of most of the things that go on offense, but I felt like I needed to spend my time a little differently than I was in the past.
Have you consciously coached your team differently this year in a 1-6 start than you did last year as you went on to win 11 games? Have you been different with your team this year?
No, I felt I felt the other way. I felt like we were making some progress in our system. I thought we were making progress in our program, and we were improving in that area. And it just shows you how fine a line is winning and losing in this league. But again, we still have a lot of football left to play. So
you think you think the way you go about your business and your staff goes about your business, you think you've been better this year than you were last year? I felt going in, yes, that we improved in some areas. We made a lot of tweaks going into the season that we felt we had a chance to improve, and it didn't turn out that way. But again, we keep on working, we keep on believing. Talking with Ben McAdoo, the Giant head coach. Have you consciously been tougher or easier on your team during this tough time? Have you thought about how you would deal with your team week to week? Has it made you be conscious of how you deal with your team's psyche, considering the 1-6 start?
Excuse me, Mike.
No problem. We're talking with Ben McAdoo. He's just going to take a drink for a second. He's got a little frog in his throat, so he's...
Yeah, no, every second of every day you spend trying to thinking about your team and what you can do to help your team improve and get better, and that really hasn't changed from last year to this year. Just, spend as much as time as we can as a staff, really, and as an entire building, and spending time with the locker room and trying to figure out ways we can put players in position to be successful.
Do you see your players down? I mean, now, a losing team can look a lot different than a winning team and sound a lot different. Is your team down? Do you notice your team's down?
No, I think, we're a team that practices well. And when you come out to practice, you can see that there's energy at practice. Guys are flying around. Some of the names have changed on the back of the jerseys, but they are practicing hard. They're working hard to get better. Again, we're counting on that building up and, paying off for us on Sundays.
You played your best game against Denver, no question. You played hard in the Seattle game. It got away from you on a couple of big plays. I haven't seen any effort issues. Have you seen any effort issues that you haven't liked with your team?
No, I mean, usually when you see effort issues, Mike, it'll start in the practice field, and we haven't seen it on the practice field, let alone game day. Guys are showing up. They're practicing hard. We had a good practice out here today, just getting fresh off of the bye here, and guys are working. They're into their preparation. Again, we just need to keep working and get some better results on Sundays.
In this league, two people get the arrows and the bouquets. That's you and the quarterback. What would you say about your quarterback so far, and how has he handled this season?
Eli is very consistent, very steady, works hard at his preparation. We've asked him to play a little bit differently over the last few weeks, and, he's responded in a positive way to that. Quarterbacks, they want to have the ball and they want to throw it all over the yard, but we have to do what's best for the football team, and he's responded in a positive way.
You lost a couple of very explosive players, including one of the most explosive players in the league in Beckham. Are you built? Do you have enough personnel to play the way you are asking Eli to play right now? Can you play that way, or do you need to go back and play a little bit more like the Giants played when you had your people and just ask your wide receivers to do more?
I think that we're asking our receivers to do more, but we want to do it on our terms. I think that's important, but you have to be smart and look at the whole football team and do what you need to do to put your players in position to be successful. And the formula was in Denver, and the way we played in Denver versus a good football team on the road. We were physical. We took care of the football on offense and special teams, and the defense in special teams took the ball away. We had good field position in that ball game, and running the ball and stopping the run's big.
What's been the hardest thing for you handling this streak right now, handling this tough time with this team? Especially, you got a very visible team. You got in a very big city. There's a lot that goes with that. It's good when you win. It's tough when you lose. Has it been tough on you?
Well, I'm fortunate, Mike. I don't get out much, so I'm here quite a bit. So I'm like I say, around. I'm the beacon of light and I'm the beacon of hope. I'm positive. I see the way that these guys work each and every day, and I believe in them. I believe in the organization, and I believe that we're going to find a way to get wins and get one at a time. And I'm positive. How
about it inside? Your general manager came out, said some very nice things about you, said about how smart he thinks you are and everything inside. But when everyone's 1-6, everyone's always looking around. I mean, things are tough in this league when it's 1-6. It's just a tough league to be 1-6, especially if you have a team that people have high hopes for. So being a 1-6 isn't an easy thing to do.
No, but this is a class organization. The men and women who work here have integrity, have class, are high character people. Jerry and I are tied at the hip. I believe in the process. I believe we're going to get things turned around, and I believe the fans have been great. They've been supportive. At the games, they've been tremendous. We got to find a way to get a win for them at home. And we're looking forward to doing that on Sunday.
Fans, this is where coaches and fans separate. Fans look at the big picture and think about, oh, wow, this year's gone. We can't go to the playoffs. We might as well not win. we know, and having been around coaches all my life, coaches never think that way. I mean, they live for every game, and every game's next to your record. So I know what every game means. Do you think people lose sight of that?
Yeah, I'm not sure what that perspective is. I'm not real familiar with it, but I do know that, Lombardi said winning isn't everything, it's the only thing. And what he meant by it was the feeling at the end of that game when you're walking off the field and the feeling you have in the locker room after you won a battle against an opponent that everyone's put everything they've had for the last week into the ball game, coming away victorious. That feeling's hard to beat, and that's what we're chasing.
I know you can only take them one at a time. That's what you try to do here. And this week it's the Rams, and you're not thinking about anything else. But it is interesting that you close with 3 of the last 4 at home against against your 3 big division teams at the end of the season. Having those games stack up, I mean, you might be in a different role this year. It might be a spoiler role, but I know there's a lot of big games still to be played, and you try to get that feeling back. I guess the only way to get it is one game at a time, right? You can't get it in more than you can't do more than just try to play this week's game.
No, if we could play 2 this week, we'd do it, but we can't, so we can only focus on playing 1.
Do you sense at all though that is there a sense of defeat because of the fact that this team had such high expectations? Does it make it tough just to zero in on one game when it gets to 1-6 and everyone thinks that, at least thinks how tough it is to get out of a 1-6 hole in this league?
Yeah, the first 7 games humbled us. There's no question about it, but there's nothing we can do. We can't do anything about it right now. We can't change the results. So we have to get over it. And in the bye week, that's what I asked the players to do. They responded, and we had a good day of practice today. Guys were flying around, a good energy out there, so it was helpful.
Do you think you still have enough without the key guy? You lost some key guys. I mean, you lost, most of your productivity at wide receiver. With that being the case, do you think you have enough on hand to get the job done against the games you have to play?
I do. I'm confident in the locker room. I'm confident in the coaching that we have. The receivers are out there. They're working their tails off. Eli's working to get chemistry with them, but they don't have to carry the passing game alone. We have tight ends that are capable. We have backs that are capable. And we have a quarterback that has a lot of wins under his belt.
What's gone on with the defense? What's been missing with the defense this year? We've said it on the offense and all of its problems. The defense, which last year made so many plays and came up big. I know Vernon's been out, and I know there's been a couple of things. You've had some issues with the deep backs. You had some issues, obviously, with Rogers Cromartie. I mean, is there something going on inside the defense that has kept it from playing the same way this year? Has it lacked hunger? Is there something you can put your finger on with the defense from last year to this year?
I think the defense has been playing their hearts out. You just take a look at this last game and held Seattle in check for most of the ball game. They make a couple plays in the fourth quarter, and it got away from us there. We have some guys in the back end that are improving. I think Eli Apple's getting back on track. He's improving after a slow start. The defensive line is coming on. JPP's coming on. I think Snacks is having a fine year. The depth is improving there, and Delvin Tomlinson is really working hard for a young player out there to improve his game. Again, it's just when you lose a couple games early on with no time left on the clock, it takes a toll on you. And I thought we rebounded the last couple weeks and played some tough, hard-nosed defense.
And how about the issues with, say, a guy like Rogers Cromartie or something like that? Has everything settled in those areas?
Yeah, we talked about it before he left, and I'd let him know. I said, when you come back, we're going to start with a clean slate, and that's how we're going to approach it here. And he came back, had a good week of practice, was out there buzzing around today, so we don't hold grudges.
This is your first, you're going to go through, last year you had a wonderful first year. This second year has been a test now for you in just your second year. What's been the hardest part of dealing with this? You work all week to go, get a taste of a win. And when you don't, you can't let it frustrate you. You got to stay positive. And again, I'm positive. That's how I am by nature.
and the players feed off of that. And
you haven't gotten down at all during this run?
No, I don't have time to get down.
Really haven't? You really? I mean, I would think human nature. I mean, you've had some brutal losses.
Yeah, we don't. The fortunate thing from a player and coach standpoint is you don't have time to mourn losses in the season. You just have to move. You have to learn from it, and you have to move on and get ready to play the next one.
Have you changed at all this season? Are you a little different from what's gone on with this experience this year, or are you the same guy you were last year?
No, I believe I'm a consistent person. You try to handle everything with discipline and poise, and set an example as best I can. When you sent your team off on the bye, what did you tell them? We just talked about, we talked about being humbled through the first 7. Don't forget how badly you once wanted what you now have, and that each and every day in this business is a blessing. And, you can only play it. When they came back, I asked them that, you just play one play at a time, one game at a time, and don't worry about the results. Don't worry about the scoreboard. I'll let them know when the game's over. Does it feel like it's still 9 games to go? I mean, you still haven't even reached the halfway point of this season. It probably feels like 3 seasons, right? Well, no, we're just preparing one game at a time, and we got 9 opportunities, 1 week at a time to go out and turn into a better football team, and that's what we're looking to do. The Giants, when they've had these, we're talking with Ben McAdoo, when they've had these terrible starts in recent years, when they have had them, they've had a habit of really turning it on. 3 of the 4 times they've won at least 6 or 7 games after they've been 0-5, so they've finished strongly. So that's been kind of the Giant MO. Should we expect the same this year? Well, this week, that's what we're out there to do. We're out there working to find a way to get a win. I'm not going to make any predictions. I don't have a crystal ball. I just know that I like the way we showed up and worked today. Thanks very much for coming on. I appreciate it. Thanks very much, Coach. All right, thanks, Mike. Take care. Ben McAdoo, the head coach of the Giants, had a brutal time for his team. So what he's going to tell you is that, hey, it's all I can do is go out and play hard. And that's what they're going to try and do, and put the people on the field. You heard him say they were going to try and do things a little differently, which means be a little more physical, trying to run the ball a little more, not put so much pressure on the offensive line. Clearly, they're going to feed the tight end. He's up to the challenge, and they'll try and see if they can beat the Rams. I have not seen any quit in the Giants. I've seen some bad play at the end of games. I've seen some breakdowns, but I haven't seen any quitting them. They played well in the Denver game. They played hard in the Seattle game. Seattle made some big plays late and beat them. Seattle was just a little more cohesive, a little better than them right now. They're 1-6. They have a tough schedule, and down the stretch, they play 3 of their last 4 against the Eagles, the Redskins on Thanksgiving night, the Eagles, and the Cowboys. And they have some very tough games down the stretch against those division teams. 2 of the 3 of them probably be looking for playoff spots between the Cowboys and the Eagles. Redskins maybe not. They play on New Year's Eve. They play on Christmas Eve in Arizona. And there's going to be some challenges over the holidays for this team. That's probably not going to be in a playoff spot, which we know they're not going to be in a playoff spot. But they're going to have to play hard and play where those games are for to be spoilers. And they put some energy in that building because that's what the ownership's going to look for. We'll see if they can provide that. Right now, they're 1-6. They still have 9 games to play. This week, it's the Rams who come in, and the Rams are a team that's improved a lot this year. They're thinking about big things themselves this year. They're 5-2. Let's see what kind of challenge the Giants offer them this week when they will play 1:00 Giants Stadium. So we thank the head coach for coming on today. Back after.